This episode, I'm going to be showing you 7 tips on how to prep your subfloor before you install any type of flooring, vinyl plank, engineered floor, laminate, how to fix those dips on your subfloor, how to prevent that squeaking sound from happening ever again, and how to fix those molds and holes on your subfloor. So stay tuned. Welcome to Fix This House. If you're new to the channel, please consider pressing the subscribe and notification bell so you could always be in tune on DIYs, how-to videos, and product reviews that I do within this channel. Welcome back to my kitchen renovation series, and as you can see, I pulled out all the cabinets, the sink, and what was left was this unfinished flooring, which was left from my past install. And as you can see here, the first tip that I want to show you is to remove the interference, any type of screws, nails, anything underneath on the side where the drywall sits, because this will be needed for when you start installing flooring later on. You need that gap. So if you're having trouble taking this out, including this nail right here, I also suggest you use a little mini hacksaw, hack those away. You can either use an oscillating tool as well or a Dremel tool. You are not limited to any tools. The second tip that I want to show you is to remove any type of staples or nails on the floor. Now this might be very discreet, you might not find them, so a good way to take it is take your hammer and just run it across the baseboard just like that, and you will feel all the bumps. You can either nail or pretty much hammer down all those staples down, or you can take your lineman's pliers or any types of pliers that you have and take those staples out of there. And if you need a little bit of help, you can either use a flathead screwdriver as well. Try to pry those out and then try to take those out the rest with your pliers. Again, all the tools that I use within this video, I'll leave a link on the description down below so you can check out all the tools that I used. Now, another helpful tool that I really like to use is this 10-in-1 tool. I'll leave a link on the description down below if you're interested on this, but it has many types of features that you can use. You can use it to scrape, pry out these nails, or pretty much open a can. It's pretty much used for a painter's tool. And you can also make sure that you check and use your hammer to take out all those nails, and you can also use a pry bar to take those many nails. Make sure that you scan all throughout your floor for these. Now you're going to end up having these little nails right here where the heads are taken out. You can just pretty much hammer those down, but that's not the end of those. Sometimes when you step on the floor, these tend to go back up. So what you want to do is you want to use this punch tool so that you can fully penetrate those nails down to your subfloor so you don't risk of having these pop back up. Now this is a very easy tool to use. Just put it on top of the broken nail or any type of screw that you might have and just hammer down all those and you should be fine. Now the third tip that I want to show you is to remove any raised areas. If you have damaged wood or anything that's sticking out, make sure that you just take your scraper, any type of paint scraper. Here I'm using my drywall knife, my 4-inch actually, and just scraping that out. Anything that pretty much is over the top surface or any bumps will mess with your flooring. So you want to make sure that you take out any type of paint chips, any type of debris, and make sure you vacuum. All right, vacuum really well, vacuum all those things, because there's no use on scraping all those debris out if you don't take that out with a vacuum. You might not see it with some areas are blended in with your subfloor real well, so make sure you run it with your vacuum so you have a nice flat surface. Now on where the butt joints are, where the two planks meet, this is where you tend to get a lot of squeaks. Now these nails are, this is what pretty much causes those squeaks, is those nails over time when you step, it goes up and down, and the rubbing between the plank and the nail is what causes the squeak. So secure the subfloor with screws. When you secured it with screws, there's no chance of those subfloor or that plank from going up and down over time, expansion and contraction, and you will not get those squeaks. So make sure you take a little bit of screws. I'm using a 2-inch, 2.5 general purpose screws, and make sure that you screw in each side of the butt joints. Okay, now tip number 5 is to fill any types of cracks, holes, and dips on your plywood or OSB. As you can see, this one's take a little bit of beating, and what I like to use to fix this is my wood filler. Now this is by Minwax. I have a bunch of this. I mean, again, you can use any type of filler. There's many types in the market, so you're not limited to just this product. This is just what I have available at this time, and it works really well. And you can also use this DAP flexible floor patch and leveler if you choose. And there's another product as well where you can use to pretty much level out. This is the Self Leveler Plus. This is great for plywood, concrete, and many types of uses. Again, check out the link on the description down below for these products. And you're just gonna go and fill in any types of imperfection, dips, holes, and whatnot, and you're just gonna fill it just like that. Let this thing to dry. You can choose to sand it later on, but no need. If you really feather it out, you should be okay. Now the very important thing also is make sure you cover up these holes from the nails that you took out or screws, because tendency is you might get a little bit of critters that might come out of there later on. So just to be safe, you don't want any draft, any type of pests coming through those holes. Ants, carpenter ants, or sugar ants, whatever. So make sure you cover those real well. And now you want to check for the level of your floor. If you have any types of dips, you want to check it with your level. Now in this case, my floor is pretty level, pretty well maintained. So if you're gonna go, make sure you go and check out all the areas, check out all the angles as well. In this area right here, you can see that there is a dip right there. There's a small dip and a little dimple on many different types of areas. So this is an easy fix, friends. All you have to do is, again, take your filler, your fill piece. In this case, I'm using my wood filler, and I'm gonna fill that up with my wood filler. Again, use all the other products that I showed you a while ago, and you can just use this to pretty much go over it. Easy as that. There's nothing to it. Make sure you just take your time. Make sure you feather it in. If one coat is not enough, make sure you wait for it to dry and then put a second coat later on. Again, you're not limited to any products that you use on this. Alright, so make sure it's nice and leveled. And the very next important thing that you want to do is you want to check and replace damaged plywood from mold or any types of holes or cracks that is pretty much damage on your plywood. This one, I'm taking a little piece of the vinyl plank flooring out. I am locating floor joists on there. Now, if you want to know the full repair on how to do this, I made a video specifically on this. Check out the link on the description on the top right. I use this endoscope camera with the light built in. I really love using this whenever I am cutting through the floor. It checks for any types of pipes, electrical underneath, just to be safe, because you don't want to end up cutting any piping or electrical underneath there while using your reciprocating saw or your circular saw, because that's going to create a lot of work later on and might cost you a lot more than this repair. So you're just going to take your circular saw, mark out where you want to cut, and I know given you can't cut all the way to the edge right there, but I am going to be using my oscillating tool, or you can use a little mini reciprocating saw. In this case, I couldn't find mine, so I ended up using this. I'm just going to be cutting around the perimeter or the area that you don't want anymore. Just take your time. In this case, this worked pretty well in cutting that out. Use your pry bar and then replace this old piece of wood. Okay, so in this case, this is 3/4 inch size plywood. Now I'll be making my framing with 2x4s. You can use 2x6s, but in this case, this is the only stuff that I have, and I want to save material. So now you're going to fabricate all the wood framing so that you can place that plywood, so that plywood has a good base to sit on. You're just going to do just like what I'm doing right here. Put it on the edge, screw to the edge of the 2x4, and have that nice base. Make sure it's nice and square. And I'm just supporting this with general purpose screws. 2.5 or 3 inch will do. And like what you see here, put it on the edge, put half on the old plywood, so you have a new piece of plywood sticking out to have a base for the new plywood to sit on. Okay, now again, I'm supporting this with general purpose screws. I'll leave the screws on the description down below. Here's the base. Now I'm ready to cut for the plywood. Now this little piece of plywood was super expensive. For this 2 feet by 4 feet was around $40. So make sure that you take your time on cutting this. You don't want to mess up, because this does cost a lot nowadays. So I am using flip-flops when I'm working around my home. Just makes feel more comfortable, and plus make it transition easier to go to my floor without messing up my flooring on the inside. Alright, so once you get your piece, make sure you mark out where those base studs are, those floor joist reports, and you are gonna go and place this down, and make sure that you step and check this on to see if it's nice and stable. Once you know that's stable, screw it down with your general purpose screws, And that's pretty much it. Fairly easy, and you have a nice brand new subfloor area. So here's what it looks like before. You can see that there was mold on that little area right there. Again, make sure you mitigate that or hire a professional if you have a big mold problem. And you can see I'm using 3/4 inch plywood. So here's the final product, friends. I know we are not done with this. Once you place this, you either want to seal the edges with this caulking. So I like to use this Extreme Stretch by DAP. You can either use insulating foam as well. So tip number 7 is a quick tip. If you have any ventilation duct that is over your subfloor, make sure you flatten those out. Make sure those are nice and flattened out so you don't have any bumps. And you want to double check underneath your old plank if you're continuing your vinyl plank flooring, and check for any type of debris and take those out. Now I hope you find the big value to this video. Please hit that big thumbs up, subscribe, and notification bell, and I have more flooring tips for you in the future. See you once again. Thank you so much.